Hi there, this is Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and today I'm going to show you how to make a tear bear. I've been asked by a lot of people how I make them, and I'm going to make this video to show you how I make them. First of all, all my patterns I use to make them all come from the berry scrap, and you can get the patterns at theberryscrap.com. And some of the tools that I use to make these is must have a water brush. And the berry scrap also sells these cool tracing tools. You're going to need a wire brush. And then some of the other tools I use these pens and a white pen, tweezers for the small pieces, ink pad, and I also use chalk, coloring in the cheeks and stuff. And the glue that I use to make them all is Fab-Tac. Most of the pieces I've already got made. I'm just going to show you the basic idea on this one piece, and then we'll just assemble, and I'll show you how I assemble them. The great thing about the patterns from the berry scrap is they're all acrylic pieces, and they're perfect. I've used these literally hundreds and hundreds of times, and they're still just as perfect as they were when I bought them. Now all you got to do is use your mulberry paper. You're going to have the rough side. You're going to put that down and just take your acrylic piece, trace it out. You're not going all the way through, you're just scoring your lines. And each piece, for the body parts, each piece gets 2 pieces. So right now I'm just going to give you the basics on the head and how to make it. So I just traced it. And I'm just going to cut them out. Now you're going to use your water brush, and all you're going to do is outline where your score lines are. As long as you don't use too much water, you can just pretty much assemble these like non-stop without having to wait for anything to dry. And very lightly just go around with the water. Like that. And then all you're going to do is tear them out. The second piece out. And now you're going to glue them together. Now this is the face. When you make the faces, you want to make sure that you want to use the top piece that's more smooth. Because like right here, if you get this piece, you can see how it's kind of rough. And it's going to be kind of hard, especially if you're drawing on eyes and stuff. So you just glue them together. And just set your piece on top. And usually just to press it down just to flatten out the ink. The glue. And that's it for doing that part. And now for brushing to make them look fluffy, what I do is I flip them over and I start with the back first, and all I do is just brush around the outsides. And this is already dry because I didn't use much water, so it doesn't take long. And then flip it over, and then I do the front side and just spin around. I do it right on my desk only because it just makes it fluffier that way, and I don't really scratch my desk, so I don't worry about it. And now after you do that, I'm going to ink it. So I take my ink, and I like to use these daubers. I think they just give you more control. So just go around the outsides and pick an ink color that's just a few shades darker than your mulberry paper. That way you can you can see the definition of it. And that's it, that part. And now we're going to assemble it. And that's the easy part. I have all the pieces done. I've made each of these pieces using the same techniques that I just showed you. Just to save time, I already did them all. So what you're going to do is I always find it easiest is look at the face and see what looks better for like the top part of the head. Like on this piece here, you can see the way it tore. It's kind of not as even, and you want to make it look nice. So use something that's got a good round part to it. And you're going to glue the muzzle on first. And what did we say? Right here. So see the part that's a little not quite so round? You're going to hide it with the muzzle. So you're not even going to see that. And just put the muzzle on. And the nice thing about Fab Tack is it dries really fast. It gives you a little play time, but other than that, it dries pretty quick, so you can really get working on these. And now we're going to put his nose on because it's easier to line up the eyes when you have the nose on. And just make sure too when you're making them to watch any glue, because you don't really want glue showing anywhere. So just watch that. If you do get glue in places, if you let it dry, usually you can try to pick it off with usually with this tool or with some tweezers, and you can get it off. So usually with that. Okay, so now he's got his little nose. So now we're going to put his eyes on. And these eyes are printable eyes from the Berry Scrap, and you can download them there. They're free printables. And now we're just going to stick the eyes in place. I've already cut them out. And this is where you need the tweezers because they're so little. If you look at the eyes, you'll notice they have 2 white dots. The white dots are closer to the inside. They are different. So if you go out, they're kind of looking a little out. But they're made to go with the little dots on the inside. And all you're going to do is glue them down. And this is another spot you want to be real careful about not over gluing, because when you go to draw the eyelashes and stuff on, it's going to be hard if you have glue dry in there. So you can just spread it out with your finger. Now usually you just put it to the edge of the nose. And that's why you put the nose on first, so you can kind of line them up. And just push it down. As long as you don't have too much glue on it, you're not going to smush the glue out. And we're going to glue on the second eye. And just grab any extra glue. And just put the other eye on. And like that. So now we're getting our face going. Now before you go any further, attaching anything, I always like to do the face on because it's flatter and you don't have to worry about everything. So to do that, I'm going to give him eyelashes. And it takes practice. Eyelashes are something that people have a hard time with. It took me a long time to get eyelashes down. It takes practice, you can get it. Now we got little eyelashes. And all I'm going to do is trace around the edge. There, now he's got a little face. And the other thing I'm going to do right now before I can go further is I'm going to take my white gel pen and I'm just going to highlight his nose. And then I'm going to take my chalk and I'm going to give him some cheeks. There. And now that the cheeks are done, I'm going to give him a little mouth. And all I'm going to do is just draw a little line and then give him some freckles. There. And now he's got a happy little face. Now we're going to give him some ears. And I usually glue both ears because it just makes it easier when you're trying to line them up that you've got glue on both pieces. And just kind of eyeball it where you think it needs to go. That looks about right. And now it's time to attach him to his body. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the legs. So on the thing, he's got one leg on top and one leg on the bottom. So Tattered Teddy is going to get his legs. And we're going to glue one spot on the top and one spot on the bottom. Same thing again, just like the ears, do both pieces, so that way you can line it up. And for his belly, just tilt him a little bit because he's kind of got a little big belly sticking out here. So just glue the pieces on like that. And now we need some arms. I'm going to attach the outside arm first, right here. I'm going to put this one on first, and then put his head on, and then I'll put the second arm on after, just because the lining up one after you put the head on. And there's this little arm. Now we're going to put his head on. And we're going to tilt his head just a little bit, kind of make him cute. And now we can put the second arm on. And now because he's tattered, he needs little patches. So we're going to put little patches on him. What I did was just cut out little squares of the mulberry paper. And I inked around the edges of those just to give it a little bit of color. And put one on his belly. And then he's also got a little boo-boo by his ear, so we're going to ink that one too. And put that there. Put that on after you already did his eyelashes because they're going to go into his eyelashes, so you're going to want to make sure you get those done first. And then all you do, you're going to make little stitches because he's tattered and he's been sewn, so you're just going to make little lines. And up here. And that's it. And he's made. That easy. And that's simple. Some people think that I brush inside here. All I really do is I just brush the outside edges, and that's it. It just kind of looks like it's more fluffier than it is. But they're really that simple. If you have any questions, you can email me at pattyscraftyspot.com, or if you decide that they're just too much for you to make, I do sell these online at www.pattyscraftyspot.com. I have lots of animals there to choose from, and I hope to hear from you soon, and thanks for watching.